Hi, this is Dr. Y. I am a behavioral health doctor and a licensed clinician, and today I'm here to share with you 15 tips. This is me pulling all this stuff together to share with you about how to lovingly and intentionally detach from unhealthy people. I want you to understand that people kind of come and go in our lives, right? Kind of like this. There's some people that may be there from birth until death. There's other people that may come in, stay for a while, and leave. And then there's other people that it's even a shorter amount of time than that in terms of how much interaction we have with them. Many times when you first meet someone, people can be on their best behavior, which means that over time, we learn who people really are in different situations. And over time, we earn trust and also rapport with people. Now, if you find yourself in a really toxic or unhealthy relationship situation with someone, there are some things that you can do to lovingly and intentionally detach. It is my responsibility to make sure that the people that are included in my life are actually helping me grow as a person. And it's my responsibility to make sure that I advocate for myself and that I'm in a position to be able to speak up when I need to. So what does detachment mean? Well, in this situation, it means that we remove ourselves from situations or people that are unhealthy. Now, this doesn't mean that the person in question is a bad person. I don't want you to think of things always in terms of black or white, okay? I want you to think of things in terms of better and best. So what that means when we're talking about people is there are people out there that are probably great people, but they may not have the same values that you have. They may not have the same goals that you have. They may not behave in a way that creates confidence and a feeling of love and acceptance for you. And so in these situations, you have the right and the responsibility to step up and say, I've assessed this and it's either working for me or it's not. So I came up with 15 tips. I just want you to think about them real quick as I run through them and use them if you can in terms of lovingly detaching. Now I call it lovingly and intentionally because we don't have to do things like removing ourselves from a negative relationship in a way where we have to carry around resentment and regret later. If a relationship is unhealthy, it is what it is. You've got to move on. Now, when I talk about unhealthy, I'm talking about mentally, spiritually, physically, psychologically, and emotionally. All of these things. If it is unhealthy, it's unhealthy. And it doesn't mean that you always have to part on negative terms. It just may mean that you need to create some distance and some boundaries. Here are 15 things that I want you to consider. Number 1, I want you to recognize that it's not your fault. Sometimes we just don't get along with other people, or sometimes we're just not swerving in the same lane. Number 2, I want you to radically accept that change isn't always likely with other people. Really, the only person that you can change in a relationship is yourself. And if the other person, when you bring it up to them, if they just don't see it, don't want to see it, don't want to address it, it's probably time for you to consider what you're going to do about that. Number 3, here's just a little idiom for you. Abused people are wounded people. So there's a reason why they might be projecting or treating people in a certain way. But that is not an excuse for treating others poorly. Now look, number 4 is making a plan for your exit. Now, there are some situations where you don't need to do this. Let's say that you're in a marital situation where it's time for you to detach from an unhealthy situation. You may have to think about how you're going to cover phone, location, finances, arrangements with your children. There's a lot of different factors there. But this tip is about making a plan. The suggestion is sometimes we have to leave in an emergency, but most of the time With some advanced warning and preparation, it can go a lot smoother when we're looking to detach. Number 5, in really unhealthy toxic situations, consider cutting off all contact if you have to. Number 6, get off social media. Look, when we're on social media, we actually give people cues about where we are and what we're doing. And with social media, we also can be taking in negative comments or posts or what other people are saying, even when it's not their business. So consider getting off social media and giving yourself all of the focus of your attention. Number 7, I want you to remember to replace pain or emptiness with happy things that you used to do. Sometimes when we get into an unhealthy situation, we are giving up and sacrificing the healthy things that we do to protect our own self-care. So consider adding every once in a while some of those things back. And it can be small, simple things in the beginning. That's okay. Number 8, I want you to recognize your strengths as tools. Okay? You have strengths, abilities, gifts, and talents that you're already bringing to the table. In fact, you listening to this video right now is a strength because you are looking for additional guidance and information. So you have survival skills that have brought you to this point, just generally in your lifetime. You're here, you're present. It's a come as you are journey. So take the strengths that you have and use them as tools to get to where you want to go next. Number 9, I want you to set boundaries. These are going to be new boundaries about detaching yourself from this particular relationship. Write them down, role play them, and speak them with confidence. Number 10, I want you to stop taking responsibility for their happiness. Sometimes the reason why we don't detach ourselves from unhealthy situations is we're afraid it's going to cause pain for other people. But in the end of the day, we really aren't responsible for other people's happiness. That's their responsibility. And they have ownership in this relationship if it's not going well. You have ownership for you. Number 12, I want you to try not to stoop to their level. Sometimes things can get ugly. When you separate from people and it's a toxic situation, they are not going to like that loss of control or access to you. So really, you have got to practice self-control and decide that I'm not going to stoop to their level. I'm not going to name call. I'm not going to threaten. I'm not going to post horrible things on the internet. I'm not going to use sarcasm. I am going to take the road of personal respect. Number 13, don't take their behavior personally. Now, sometimes you might be able to distance yourself slowly and it just kind of falls away. Right? You were talking a lot at one point in your relationship and now you're not. And people are able to accept that and move on. In really intrinsically difficult, unhealthy, toxic relationships, that's not always possible. So what we have to do is set a boundary and advocate for what we want and what we need. In that moment, there might be things that are said or things that are done in retaliation. I don't want you to take that personally. Those behaviors are about them feeling desperate to regain control and reestablish that control. Number 15 is to seek professional help. I'm always going to throw that one in there because I really do believe that especially in these circumstances when things can be difficult, they can be possibly volatile, we need support. We need some guidance from people who know what to do. And you deserve the ability to work through your own emotions and your own feelings in a place that's neutral and safe for you. Sometimes detaching yourself from a negative situation takes time. Sometimes it needs to happen immediately. And you know what? I have every faith and confidence that you're going to know the difference between the two. This takes a lot of gumption. It takes a lot of grit to get in there and decide, you know what, I deserve better. And this relationship is not serving me. And don't forget to like and subscribe, even share what you're listening to and what you're learning on my channel. I really do need your help to build this mental health community. So, what are you waiting for?